Suikoden 2 is easily the strongest entry in the series and one of the biggest reasons to pick up the HD remaster. While the original Suikoden still holds up thanks to its story and world building, Suikoden 2 took everything one step further. It sharpened the focus on political strife, deepened the world building, and delivered more emotional conflict, even if the story became more predictable as the game moved forward. The game had fewer bugs, more characters, more side content, and mini-games. Every side quest felt personal, but at its heart was the bonds between Ryu, Nanami, and Joey. If you're a player who cannot find that connection, the rest of the game just might not hit as hard. And that's why some players prefer the original game, as it does have a much stronger central narrative separated from the character dynamics. But with its multiple endings and meaningful choices, Suikoden 2 makes your decisions always carry emotional weight, rather than being words on a screen. Similarly to our review of the Suikoden HD Remaster, we will start with the changes, patches, and any lingering concerns with the core gameplay. A lot of those previously discussed changes are also present in this sequel. The original Suikoden 2 had its fair share of bugs, but many of them worked in the player's favor. Unfortunately, they have been addressed and removed. The Muse to Matilda gate glitch has been fixed, along with the infinite Pawkt exploit through the Armorer. While these changes will likely impact some players due to nostalgia, the update also addressed many smaller issues with runes not working properly, like the Earth rune, and other equipment stats that players probably never even noticed. There are a lot of good changes across the board, besides the following that seems to have been left in from the original. Once you have finally reached the town of Tinto, depending on how you personally play the game, you may run into a softlock. The game's design at this specific location is rough and unchanged. If you do manage to run out of spells or forget items, it is problematic because the town's shops and inns are unavailable at this stage. A simple fix would have been to allow players to rest in the inn by interacting with the beds or introducing a special NPC who would offer aid before the tough fight ahead. Without such options, you risk dying and losing hours of progression thanks to an autosave point inside of the caves beneath Tinto where escape is now impossible. You can get stuck on a ledge with no way down. So if you haven't been saving frequently, you can very well lose a large amount of time having to go back through multiple hours of gameplay and cutscenes. Otherwise, the best solution is to cheat one time so that you can get back on track. The game allows you to speed up combat, but only by ×2 instead of the ×3 option from the first. It makes battles feel slightly slower, but it also helps stretch out the runtime more without making it feel like you're rushing through the entire game. So this offers a solid 30 to 40 hours of gameplay, where the first remaster only offers 15 to 20, because it was just too fast. Suikoden 1 and Suikoden 2 feature military battles, but they couldn't be more different from one another. The first game kept things simple with quick rock, paper, scissors style skirmishes. Suikoden 2 on the other hand tried to treat it like a tactics game with very slow scripted encounters where your input did not actually matter. There's no way to speed them up or to skip them, making them feel like pure filler. It's more of a hands-off experience that really does pull the experience downward. Even in some of the instances where you do have the option to ignore heading out to battle due to the branching choices the player is given, you still have to wait around for long periods. The best solution that you have is to ask Apple to play this encounter for you while you wait slowly. While the story of Suikoden 2 is very predictable and one of its weaker points, I always assumed this was due to the fact that it expanded out into other aspects such as character bonding, side quests, and political world building, bringing back many of the characters from the original game who survived with the file transfer system. Suikoden 2 is set in the world after the war between the Liberation Army and the Scarlet Moon Empire, and a new threat is now approaching the Suikoden world, and it is even more terrifying than you could ever imagine. While the fundamental link remains related to the power of the 27 true runes, what distinguishes itself clearly is that the new opponent is a human who is motivated by sheer hatred for the city-states alone, rather than the use of ancient powers. Luca Blight wishes for nothing more than to burn down everything in their path, using every strategy in their book to rob the lives of men, women, and even helpless children as he watches them grovel and beg before ending their lives in cold blood. While he is the key driving force behind the story's development, there is much to learn about the other characters and the fate that has entrapped Ryu and his closest friend, Joey Atreides. The argument that I've had with friends is that because everything in Suikoden 2 is very predictable, it ruined their overall experience, which is why they preferred the first game and the bonding between Gremio, whereas I argued that despite a slightly weaker story focus, they were able to elicit a lot more raw, unfiltered emotions, with a lot more cinematically emotional moments that genuinely will tug at your heartstrings. The first time that I went through Suikoden 2, I genuinely yelled at my screen as events unfolded as they did naturally, despite the fact that I am normally very quiet and reserved. This has to elicit some sort of awareness of how deeply these connections are in this particular title, as opposed to the first game, if the characters click with you like they had for me. The presentation of Suikoden 2 is a certified masterpiece. That isn't to say that it's better than the first game. Both have their own distinctive charms and flaws. The difference is that Suikoden 2 takes every element that the original tried to focus on and expanded upon it while trying to refine it as well. The pixel animations are much more expressive, the events create real tension, nostalgia, and raw feelings that are tied to a deeply personal connection with nearly every character involved. I forgot just how amazing Miki Higashino was, as the composer behind these soundtracks. I feel like she never got the recognition that she deserved. She's not really a household name like Nobuo Uematsu or Yoko Shimomura, but her work carries just as much weight, maybe even more. Her compositions were perfectly designed, built to invoke exactly what each moment needed. From the opening scenes to the final stretch, it was all deliberate and layered with a lot of meaning. With her tracks like Reminiscence, its ensemble version, Days Past, The Beautiful Golden City, or The Golden City Shines Once More. And my personal all-time favorite that I just can't stop humming is The Bustling City. The melodies evolve, they get refined, and they still hit just as hard, if not better. But it's not just about the emotion. These songs are catchy, they're rhythmic, they make you want to sway, close your eyes, hum along, and maybe even get up and dance. That kind of player response is very rare with a video game. Getting players who just want to finish a game to stop and feel something, to get swept away in the music. It's not an easy feat. Yet Higashino did it without effort, and that's the kind of brilliance that deserves more praise than it ever got. Unfortunately, she did retire early in her career, which is honestly a bit upsetting. Players never got to fully experience the depths of what she was able to bring to the table. Even now, years later, I've been revisiting the soundtracks through playlists because they're just that good. They go beyond nostalgia. They're timeless pieces that still manage to move players even to this day. The bread and butter of Suikoden 2 is without a doubt the way it handles emotional scenes through its visual direction. The loss of companions, the quiet moments of fear, and the uncertainty felt by Ryu, Nanami, and Joey all come together to create some of the best character writing the series has ever seen. It doesn't rely on over-the-top drama, instead it leans into emotional expressions and atmosphere that is once again blown away by the soundtracks. The bond between these three characters isn't just told to the player, it's visually shown. You feel their pain, their sorrow, and desires for a better future, and that's what makes the game hit harder than most today. They are presented as real characters. The contrast between the high-resolution backgrounds and pixelated sprites works surprisingly well here. Unlike in Suikoden 1, where the conflicting styles often clash together, Suikoden 2 had a much more balanced approach to its upscaled visual elements. The only real issues are a few CGI cutscenes that feel disconnected in quality, but overall, it was still a visual step-up. Similar to the first game, Suikoden 2 runs smoothly with no frame drops, no crashes, and just solid performance from start to finish. The turn-based gameplay delivers exactly what fans expect, with a layer of depth through strategy, formations, and the sheer number of characters to choose from. With a lot of characters to recruit, 72 of which are playable, and a few hidden characters outside of the 108 Stars of Destiny, there is plenty of room to build your dream team. This is not a game to rush, there is just too much to enjoy. Farming specific enemies for their rare skill orb drops, grinding for EXP, and tracking down every character across the world all contributes to a sense of progression that feels earned. It's just a shame that Konami never finished the secret endgame dungeon, which was originally scrapped. It's the type of gameplay you'd play through fully once and then be done with it, unlike many Jrpgs of more recent years, which all tend to offer new game features or difficult dungeons. It's more of a one-and-done experience that may or may not convince you to come back in a few years to re-experience the adventure like many of us have already done. Outside of exploring the overworld, fighting enemies, progressing the story, and soaking in everything that the game has to offer, there are still plenty more things to dig into. The game features a variety of minigames like fishing, dancing, rope climbing, cooking, whack-a-mole, and the return of Chinchororin. That being said, the gambling aspect of Chinchororin had been heavily nerfed compared to the original, and that change was not tied to the remaster. While you can no longer gamble 9,000 Pawkt and go triple or nothing consistently to get a lot of money, the game still offers plenty of legitimate ways to earn currency. I was just a little bit disappointed because I always loved to gamble with Chinchororin, but I definitely understood why the original became more restricted on this element. The Suikoden 2 remaster was not perfect, but it didn't need to be. What made the original so iconic is still present here because it is not a remake, it is a remaster keeping things the way that they were while fixing most of the underlying issues. Even if some of these issues like the Caves of Tinto were overlooked, none of that takes away from the experience that the game manages to push onto players. If you've never played a Suikoden game, this is the best time to start. I implore you to step away from the usual JRPG headliners for a moment and try something different and new. Don't treat it like a generic JRPG. Instead, honestly try to connect with each and every character that you recruit. Suikoden isn't about a singular chosen hero or saving the world through a tangled web of timelines that have to be experienced through chronological order and confusing spin-offs. It's about leading when you're not ready to do so and watching others grow alongside you as they guide you on the right or wrong paths due to their own personal ways of thinking and their feelings towards other characters. Your choices carry consequences. People will die because of you, and this will affect how others perceive you as their leader. Suikoden 2 stands out from other JRPGs by offering more than just a generic party of characters. The game offers a meaningful cause that compels you to fight for their very future. The sense of purpose lingers long after the game ends, because even if you do choose to walk away, the story will still continue on because that's how things are in reality. This is something no other JRPG has managed to replicate, and that's because many JRPGs have become too complacent, lacking in depth and commitment to building something greater than just a typical hero's journey to save the world. Suikoden is an experience that you do not want to miss out on. Everything about it is perfect, and I hope that you can see and feel that when and if you do plan on eventually picking it up.